Good afternoon. I think the lockdown has given us immense opportunity to delve beyond subjects which we never thought about in the yesteryears. One of the topics which comes to my mind in this lockdown is emotions. Don't be a slave to your emotions. Somehow I feel then in this modern world of hustle, bustle, and running around for you know for material bid, for acquisitions, for aspirations, for achievements, somehow we have stopped communicating. We have so much of pent up feelings like a volcano, that pent up frustrations, anxiety, conflict, questions, which we keep it close to our heart because we are not able to speak or communicate to people because we feel others will be judgmental. In this confusion of being judged by others, we just keep that pent up frustration within. It's like coffee which is brewing, and eventually you don't realize that it will become you can't drink it. So ideally, what I have seen is that communication, even within the families, have become very kind of a scarce commodity. People are in this digital world working with this gadgets. They're hooked on to the digital world, and probably they don't find time, and the rest of the time is taken away by the work, office, other commitments and all. So the communication is not there, and the fear of being judged by others doesn't keep them away from it. The other thing is that I have seen between people, if there is a kind of, some hostility or conflict, it's always the extremes. People don't follow the spectrum of neutrality in terms of having a more balanced approach in terms of venting out the emotions. Either people go into a withdrawal mode and they stop communicating to each other. So instead of engulfing a relationship, it further widens in terms of the conflict, and then everybody is living in their own ivory tower with their egos and others, and no communication. So that kind of emotional thing is also not good for any relationship. The other places are where the communication is very limited, but the pent up frustration comes out in kind of a very subtle, sarcastic and sly remarks to give vent to the frustration. Like somebody is not punctual, or somebody is not orderly, or somebody doesn't maintain the basic hygiene, or somebody has other kind of weaknesses. So it's sometimes seem deliberate that the other partner tries to incite in a very subtle way, sarcastic way, by passing some snide remarks and deliberately trying to hurt. So you are trying to show your inner, frustration, and instead of creating a congenial atmosphere, you're trying to take an antagonistic stance. In certain places other than these, I have seen that sometimes people stop communicating, though it's a good thing, non-verbal communication, wherein even if one party is erring or probably is trying to create an unpleasant situation, but non-verbal communication, a reaction, wherein your facial expression or your body language itself says that there is a disapproval, but you're not getting into a verbal duel. So that kind of feeling also helps in terms of keeping a control your emotions and yet giving the message across to the other party in terms of disapproval. So that also can be a good methodology to express your feelings without hostility. The other area where people are not able to understand is that if you're not able to communicate sometimes, you have to come out of the fact. Some people always say I. Now, the moment you get into a more subtle and a more dignified way of using I, most of the relations which go haywire will be much better. Like, If your wife is or husband is a workaholic, instead of trying to say, I don't like alcoholics, you're all the time engrossed in, I don't like all. You can be more polite to tell him that I wish you could find more time from work because you're very engrossed in your work. I understand. I wish you could have done this. I wish we could have spent some time together. Instead of telling that you're workaholic, you don't have time for family and all, that puts the person away. Your emotional outburst can also put people away. So more subtle and more connected way if you talk, I think most of the relations can be more robust. The other area which I would like to conclude with is people tend to show their emotions too much on the digital platform because you want to pretend to the world. We are so pretentious and hypocritical that we just want to say I'm fine. But I want to add another line to that. I am fine, but I'm not okay. So you are camouflaging your emotions by giving all those wonderful expression on this, covering up your anxiety and depression, trying to prove to the world that all is well, I'm fine, but you're not okay. So the major thing in emotional baggage that you carry is you tend to be into a self-deception or you get into an external validation by camouflaging. And you don't want to say that I'm fine, but I'm not okay. Most of the marriages which are falling flat, most of the people who are having pressures in the family or outside in the work area, they pretend to be fine, but they're okay. So they just keep that emotional baggage within themselves, pretending. Last but not the least, we should also be very careful as emotion leads to stress. Stress has to be the key factor to combat this virus, which is becoming scary. The immunity level is affected if you are highly stressed. So it's my humble request to all that you have to de-stress yourself through expressive art therapy, through music, and even if you have to cry, just cry out and just let all your emotions overflow. But don't keep that pent-up feeling within you, and on top of it, this coronavirus and other issues cropping up adds to the misery. Because this will be jeopardizing your health and your future. So my earnest request again, be positive and start sharing even with your near dear ones, or start expressing yourself more through the means I said, music, dance, etc. and try and come out and stay healthy, both mentally and physically. Thank you very much. Have a safe day. God bless all. Bye.